Welcome to Southwest Desert, where adventure meets the arid beauty of the American Southwest. Join me as we explore Southwest's lost historical characters, stunning desert vistas, forgotten Native American history, or tales of lost gold mines. There's always something new to discover. Subscribe now and hit the bell icon so you don't miss out on our latest desert adventures. Let's journey together into the heart of the Southwest Desert. Sit back and enjoy. In the vast expanse of the American frontier, where civilization met wilderness, Fort Union stood as a beacon of military might and social grace. But beneath its orderly exterior lay a tale of love, betrayal, and supernatural vengeance that would haunt its halls forever. A story of two friends whose paths would cross in life and death with devastating consequences. Jacob Henderson and Johnny Blackwood's story began on the sprawling Blackwood family ranch in Missouri, where their childhood days were filled with mock battles and dreams of military glory. Jacob's father, a former cowboy turned ranch manager for the wealthy Blackwood family, watched with quiet understanding as the boys played at being soldiers, making their solemn childhood pact to join the military when they came of age. The boys' families had markedly different reactions to their military ambitions. Johnny's father, seeing his only son and heir preparing to leave the ranch, made no secret of his disapproval. In contrast, Jacob's parents took different approaches. His father accepted it with the stoic condition that his son be a credit to the family, while his mother's pride showed through her tears when she first saw him in uniform. Their paths to military service reflected their different stations in life. Johnny's family wealth smoothed his way to a lieutenant's commission, allowing him to bypass the harder road of enlisted service. Jacob advanced more slowly through the ranks, earning every stripe the hard way. Jacob's father, always one for understated praise, called his son a survivor with a good head, high praise from a man of few words. While Johnny enjoyed the relatively peaceful life of an officer in training, Jacob saw extensive combat action beyond Missouri. He faced the constant threats of random shootings and Apache war party ambushes, experiences that aged him far beyond his years. By the time they reunited at Fort Union, the contrast between them was stark. Jacob felt 100 years old, while Johnny retained his boyish enthusiasm, playfully dubbing his childhood friend the grizzled old soldier. Thank you for joining your desert frontiersman Alan for a lost Southwest ghost tale. If you would like to help support my time and channel, hit the super thanks heart icon on the bottom of the video and contribute. This is very helpful. Relax and enjoy. Fort Union served as more than just a military outpost. It was the social hub of the territory, where young officers and eligible ladies gathered for regular dances and social events. Despite their difference in rank creating an awkward social barrier that Johnny seemed oblivious to, the fort's busy social calendar kept them in each other's orbit. Their reunion was immediate and joyous, with Johnny seeking out Jacob the moment he arrived at the fort. They talked until after sunset, though Jacob couldn't help but notice the maturity gap between them. While he felt aged by combat, Johnny remained eager and inexperienced. It was at these social gatherings that two women would shape their destinies, Celia and Marge. Celia, the captain's sister-in-law, was universally acknowledged as the fort's great beauty. Her flirtatious nature and spirit of adventure had every eligible officer vying for her attention. She moved through the fort's social circles with the grace of a queen, conscious of the effect she had on the young men who fell under her spell. But it was Marge, a woman of quieter charms and keen intelligence, who caught Jacob's eye. While others were dazzled by Celia's radiance, Marge possessed beautiful eyes that truly came alive when she smiled. She shared Jacob's private reservations about Celia's character, even predicting that the beautiful socialite might set her sights on Johnny for his wealth rather than his heart. Romance bloomed simultaneously for both friends. Jacob proposed to Marge during a dance, her face flushing red as a rose as the news spread through the party. Their happiness seemed complete, but Celia, clearly displeased at not being the first to marry, soon orchestrated her own dramatic engagement. When an Apache raid alert sounded, she made an emotional scene, extracting a public proposal from Johnny with theatrical vows that she would never marry another if he died in battle. Fate intervened when Jacob was assigned to Johnny's troop for an Apache tracking mission. Before departing, Jacob had a private moment with Marge, telling her to remarry if he didn't return. Through tears, she demanded his safe return instead. The mission stretched into a week, with the troops splitting into two groups to cover more ground. When only half of Johnny's group returned without Johnny or his body, the fort was plunged into mourning. The contrast between the two women's grief was striking. Celia's mourning was a theatrical display that seemed designed to draw attention and sympathy, while Marge offered quiet comfort to Jacob upon his return. Jacob and Marge married in a small ceremony at the minister's house, and his promotion to lieutenant seemed to mark the beginning of a new chapter. The task of reporting Johnny's death to his family fell to Jacob. He brought Marge to meet both families, and they embraced her warmly. They spoke little of Celia, perhaps fortunately, as Johnny's mother found comfort in believing her son had found true love before his death. The families maintained their connection, bound by shared memories of Johnny's younger days. But Celia's period of mourning proved surprisingly brief. When a wealthy Eastern lieutenant arrived at the fort, she quickly became engaged again, seemingly forgetting her dramatic vows to never marry after Johnny. The wedding plans were elaborate, with everyone at Fort Union invited to witness what promised to be the social event of the season. Jacob was reluctant to attend, but Marge, resplendent in a blue dress that matched her eyes, convinced him otherwise. That morning, she had shared joyous news. She was pregnant. The wedding night began perfectly. Clear weather, everyone in their finest clothes, the happy couple dancing every dance. Then came the moment that would be forever etched in Fort Union's history. The door burst open with a tremendous bang, extinguishing candles with a blast of cold air. A heart-wrenching wail filled the room as Johnny's corpse appeared, his body swollen, his officer's uniform torn and dirty, his eyes burning with unholy fire. A crude hatchet protruded from his temple, and his scalp had been brutally taken, revealing the final horrific moments of his death. What followed was a scene from hell itself. The musicians, as if possessed, began playing a demonic waltz. Johnny seized Celia from her new husband's arms, forcing her into a macabre dance. Those present watched in horror as Celia's face turned pale. Her eyes bulged and her mouth sagged. With a final gasp, she collapsed dead in Johnny's arms, her broken vows to him finally answered. The ghost of Johnny Blackwood dropped her lifeless body, wrung his blood-stained hands, and with a final wail vanished through the door. In the aftermath, Jacob led a search party that finally discovered Johnny's body, exactly as the ghost had appeared, confirming the terrible fate that had befallen his friend. They buried Johnny and Celia together, while the traumatized bridegroom fled back east, never to return to the frontier that had claimed his bride so horrifically. Jacob, shaken by the supernatural events and their tragic outcome, resigned his commission and returned to ranch life, where his father trained him as manager. 8 months later, Marge gave birth to a son they named Andrew, after Johnny's father. The Blackwoods became the child's godparents, maintaining a connection that focused solely on happy memories, never speaking of that terrible night at Fort Union. The families maintained Johnny's portrait in his childhood home, choosing to remember him as the bright, eager young man he had been, rather than the vengeful spirit he became. The events at Fort Union became an unspoken chapter in their shared history, too terrible to discuss but impossible to forget. Today, Fort Union stands silent, but some say that on quiet nights when the wind whispers across the prairie, the ghostly strains of a waltz can still be heard. In the years that followed, Jacob and Marge raised their family on the Blackwood Ranch, where Jacob eventually took over as manager from his father. Their son Andrew grew up hearing stories of his namesake's childhood adventures with his father, but the tale of the death waltz remained untold, a dark secret carried by those who witnessed that terrible night at Fort Union. The fort itself gradually fell into disuse as the frontier pushed westward, but its reputation for being haunted never faded. Those who passed by on dark nights would hurry their pace, claiming they could hear the faint sound of music and see strange lights. And some swore that on the anniversary of that fateful wedding, the sounds of Johnny's final wail could still be heard echoing across the prairie, a chilling reminder that some promises and some betrayals echo beyond the grave. Thank you for joining the Southwest Desert for this haunted tale. If you would like to hear more Southwest videos and playlists, check out my large catalog. Happy trails! Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe for more great content. Hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. See you in the next video.